Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. On today's episode, I am interviewing Brad Delaney and he's my photographer. He is known as the headshot guy. I brought Brad on the show today because I felt that I really wanted to share with you something I call his 5-point plan. It's not what he calls his 5-point plan, but basically you're going to hear it today. So listen out for it because you're going to hear him share the way that he does things and his processes, but then you're going to hear him share this 5-point plan, as I call it, that I found really dazzling to understand why his photos come out so kind of differently and so much better than other people's photos. And in terms of getting a good headshot, the thing that I like about his process is that our headshots can make us look something we're not, or they can make us look something we are, okay? And we absolutely want our headshot to make us look warm, friendly, professional, capable, confident. He does it in a totally different order, right? But I know myself as a professional, I am absolutely capable, confident, professional, warm, and friendly. But when you point a camera at me, I can easily look like, I call it a possum in headlights. Maybe that's an Australian way to see it. But what I love about Brad, like I've had other photo shoots before, and sometimes the photos were nice, but they didn't say confident, capable, professional, warm, and friendly. The way that Brad gets your face to say it. And when we're able to get a headshot like that, it means that, like, you'll hear me bang on about the 7-Eleven for and the customer journey, right? And our ability to build a relationship with the people in our market 24/7 online digitally. In fact, you may have heard me tell you that our brains don't distinguish between digital and real. So your headshot is such an important way that you give someone a first impression. And if your headshot gives them an impression that you are anything other than confident, capable, professional, warm, and friendly, then you're losing an opportunity. And so you can probably hear my passion for this. I wanted to bring Brad on so that he could help you understand this. And then in terms of getting headshots done, you've got a couple of options. You can take what you've learned from Brad and you can actually tell a photographer, I want to look these 5 things, and then you can find out from them if they have a process, okay? You can actually connect them with Brad if you want, because he trains other photographers and he does have a workshop, or you can come and get your headshots done by Brad. Some of the bookkeepers in my community that live in Australia, either they come to him if they live not too far away, or they fly into him and they make it a bit of a tax deductible holiday. The same with overseas. If this is one of the activities that you're doing, check with your tax accountant to see what's claimable. But I honestly believe that getting the right headshot is one of the key marketing pieces for you. Okay, so I have rambled on and on in this intro, but I wanted to make sense of why I brought this guest on, because I don't bring just anyone onto this podcast. And let's get stuck into the episode. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice 6-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Welcome to the podcast, Brad.
Thanks for having me, Jeannie. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. We always love catching up. So it feels like yesterday, but I'm very fortunate. He's always done last minute stuff for me too, Christmas stuff, whatever we need to do. And
I'm not sure if that's a reflection on you or a reflection on me. I'm not quite sure how that works.
I think it might be both. Yeah.
It could be.
And we live a hop, skip, and a jump away from each other. So Brad is here today to really have an impact and help us around brand and marketing, and you know that this stuff sets my soul on fire. So I'm going to start by asking Brad to tell us a bit about himself, his journey, and connect to all of that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I suppose I start with, I was born in Melbourne, the product of an artist and a policeman, which is an interesting combination. My folks had pubs when I was getting into my mid to late teens. So pretty much grew up in a pub in the middle of Melbourne, which was interesting, back in the 70s. I'm bloody old. So came up here in 1982 at the end of high school. Plodded around, worked in bars, and you did all that stuff when you were sort of trying to work out what the hell you wanted to do. Had always been taking photos, and then I started working for Dad, who started his own PI business, and he sort of gave me a camera and said, right, you're it, you're taking my pictures. So it really started out of that. And that was just a passion. And, I was doing stuff like following people around and back in the days when you needed to prove that your partner was, playing up on you or something to be able to get a divorce. So that made me sort of think a little bit more deeply about the photography that I was doing, which I did. And then eventually I sort of said to Dad, well, hey, listen, I don't know, I want to pick better looking subjects. So I was dating a model at that stage. So I was shooting her photos, and then her agency said, can you shoot some of these other girls? And it just sort of went on from there. So, and that was it. Then I ended up working at Conrad Jupiter's for a long time, and I was sort of part-time doing bits and pieces here and there in their marketing department, and ended up in Japan. Lived over there for about 7 years, mostly shooting waves and, odds and ends. Again, weddings and a few bits and pieces. Came back, had a little bit of cancer, so I had to deal with that, which was pretty crappy, as any cancer is. So dealt with that. But when I got up out of bed, I had no money. I was 41. I had a new wife, and just went, no, all I want to do is take pictures. So I sort of put my head down and my bum up and started taking photographs. Eventually I did a little bit of work with a business coach who said, you've really got to find a niche. So I started looking in the States, because we generally follow their trends. We're reasonably fortunate in that, and when I say we, I talk about Australians. We can pick the bones out of what's been really successful in America, and headshots. Social media was starting to sort of show some form around the place, Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all those types of things. And so I just sort of started heading down that road. So just slowly over time, I became the headshot guys. I did less and less other stuff and more headshot work. So that's pretty much how I ended up here I am today.
Yeah, and that's how we met. And you know what? When we met, it was kind of that, social media was kind of reasonably new, but websites were really big. You remember it was kind of like, you really need a website, and they were expensive, but it was all about having your headshot. And we were beginning to understand that headshots along with stock photos were good. I've got some construction going on in the background. So if anyone can hear a little bit of drilling, excuse it, but it's going to keep going. It's only a little bit. So that's how we met. And also, Brad, your background in, I guess, your business acumen and marketing acumen.
Yes, well, while I was at Conrad Jupiter's, I thought about my career and where it was heading and all those types of things. And so I went to Bond to do a bachelor's degree, to be completely honest. And the day I went there, the woman that runs the bachelor interviews was off sick. I ended up sitting in front of the master's degree woman, and she sort of said, why are you doing a bachelor? And I just sort of went, well, I thought that's what you had to do. And she said, well, no, you've got enough experience in, running businesses and et cetera. We can credit you with a bachelor and you can just go and do a master's. And I went, okay, cool, that sounds better. It was cheaper, it was shorter. So obviously more work, but I thought it sounds better when you've got an MBA rather than a DBA, I think it was called it back in those days. So I started doing a master's degree at Bond, which is only around the corner from me. I did a semester, and then Conrad Jupiter's approached me and said, listen, we're putting together a program at work. We've got 9 people. We want a 10th, and we've heard you're doing an MBA. Would you be interested in switching across to our version? So I said, who's paying for it? And they said, we are. And I said, pick me. So that was it. I switched across, and Conrad Jupiter's ended up paying for my MBA, which was nice. So that was a different type of MBA. It was an action learning degree, which was super powerful, because basically each subject that you did, you approached a member of the workplace and said, hey, listen, I've got to do this project. Pick me a project. So you sat down with them and strategically worked out, okay, what's a good plan? And off you went. You went and you still had to do the academic stuff. You still had to do the reading and the writing and all that sort of thing. But at the same time, you were putting this process in place. So I got through that. Went to Oxford in 99, graduated, and then came back, and that's when I went off to Japan.
And it's so interesting because it is a combination of having that MBA in the business understanding, along with the creative, I think.
Yeah, so it's a matter of being able to understand the background concepts of why someone might be, standing or sitting or have that desire to stand or sit in front of me and get a headshot. It's complex. Marketing's complex, depending on your business.
Is it ever?
And it's tough. Like, shit right now, we've got all sorts of stuff going on in the world. So, it's complex, and you've got to be able to make it easy for people, I think, to be able to get their head around. And having your photograph taken for most people is a daunting prospect, because I think that's partly to do with photographers. Historically, photographers have stood you up against a wall and told you to smile. Therein lies the rub, I think, most of the time. That's the tough part, because they're not helping people.
Yes, And if you go to the strategicbookkeeper.global and see all my images, they are all done by Brad. And it is, it's funny, Brad, my team are like, oh, you look so natural and relaxed. And look, Brad absolutely makes you relax, gets you laughing, and makes you feel natural. But to some extent, there's nothing natural about what he does. It's very strategic. Like, if I showed you photos that other photographers have done, I look nervous. I look like a possum in headlights, because I tend to say we all look like an animal, and I'm sure I look like a possum. Everyone else can be the judge of that. But if you do a point shoot smile at me, it'll be a big smile and wide eyes, right? And that gives me that possum look, which doesn't make me look very warm, friendly, professional, etc. And so one of the things I really wanted Brad to share with everyone today, so listen up, please, because to me, and I remember I had like a 7-figure entrepreneur with me one day when you said this, and he was like, holy shit, talk about intellectual property. So Brad has this, what I call it. A quick word on how to work with me. You can join the waitlist for the Strategic Bookkeeper Transformation Program, which is a world-class, world first, described by members as mind-blowing, which typically pays for itself within a month and has a full money-back guarantee. Simply go to the strategicbookkeeper.global/waitlist. I also have a pricing academy with a calculator and my entire suite of productized services, plus other courses and resources on my website. Email me if you have any questions, okay? What I call it, his 5-point plan, and it is everything. I just think it is so much of what you need to understand about what your photo needs to say about you. And it's one of the big reasons that I keep going back to Brad to get this with him, because he does execute it so well. So could you tell us your 5-point plan?
Well, 5-point plan, that's a fabulous title, but I actually call it my level method system.
There you go.
So level method, primarily it's about two major concepts. The first one is getting your head in the right position. And I think that's really, really important, that you're able to position your head so that you're looking down the camera and you've got that kind of nice angle for your head. And everybody's different. The exciting thing about my job and what I do is that every person that I photograph they look different. So that's the first part. The second part is a little bit more complex, but it's about your expression, and that's the vibe that you give off. Because, when people, and if you think about it really strategically, when people are looking at your corporate headshot, they're not really thinking about your personality. And that's something that I guess I stress at the beginning of every shoot is that people generally don't care about your personality. They're not looking for somebody. If they're looking for a bookkeeper or an accountant or someone along that professionalism, they're not looking for someone to go out and have beers with next week. They're looking for somebody that's really, really good at being a bookkeeper or a lawyer or an accountant or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing that generally potential clients, and they're normally the people looking at your headshot anyway, they're probably not critiquing your features either. They don't really care, So I can show you that my right ear is sticking out a little bit more than my left ear. But, Jeannie's probably never ever noticed that. I've got one eye bigger than the other. My right eye is slightly bigger than my left eye. These types of things are important, but people are obviously not going to focus on them because they don't care. And, if you're an accountant, you're probably not going to be on the next front cover of Vogue. So we need to think about those two things, head position and expression. So to do that, I have my 5-point plan or level method system, which deals with your jawline, your eyes, your mouth, a little bit of turning and a little bit of tilting. And that's pretty much how it is. It's just level method. And how much everybody does those things will be very much dependent upon your face.
And there's something that you say, and I always forget exactly how it goes. And then I try and tell my team, I'm going to try and remember it. So it goes warm, friendly, professional.
Yeah, you're not bad. It's not bad.
I'm getting there. What are the 5 things? Because to me, it's dazzling.
Confident, capable, professional, warm, and approachable.
Confident, capable, warm, professional, approachable.
Confident, capable.
Yes.
Professional. Warm and approachable.
Yes, in that order, because that's what we want. Confident, capable, professional, and then warm and approachable. Because one thing I've been thinking about lately, when I've been interacting with products and services, a bit like you said, I'm not asking this person to go and have a mojito with me, in my case, not a beer. I'm asking them to enter into a transaction with me. And that might sound clinical. And look, I only want to do business with people I like. That is correct. But what you said then, it's the first 3, because at the end of the day, I'd like to exchange money for a professional service with an expert that is confident in their abilities, right? And then if I don't like you, I don't want to do business with you, it's a part of the equation. But I think it's important to remember that these business relationships are still transactions.
Yeah, I think that for most people, the first thing that their potential clients potentially see is their headshot, their profile picture. You go to any of the social mediums and the first thing you see is someone's headshot. Now, I kind of think if you look like a little bit of a buffhead, well, then most people are not going to click further and, take your call to action, which ultimately is what you want to do. Now, your call to action might be text me, ring me, visit my website, whatever it is. That next step is dependent upon your mugshot, basically, your profile picture, your headshot, call it whatever you want. But if you look like you might not be kind of cool and interesting, well, they're probably not going to take that step. They're not going to click through and read your profile or click on a link or visit your website or do any of those types of things. So then, until such time as you actually probably physically meet them or you have a Zoom call or depending on where your client might be, that headshot is the image that they have of you in their mind. Now, you can change that, obviously, through a Zoom call, and then your headshot really becomes irrelevant at that point because the other image, and if you meet them, well, then that meeting will be the image that they have of you in their brain. But depending on how you structure your business, for some time, that headshot might be what they're looking at in, the image that they have in their brain. So.
Yeah, and it comes back to, marketing is complex, but I say to my tribe, we structure our program, for example, or everything in your business is either front end brand marketing selling or it's back end systems administration, right? And the back end is linear, barely ever changes, black and white, step by step. The front end brand marketing and selling is like a Picasso, right? It's so intricate and it's paint on a canvas. And while age-old principles never change or often don't change, the application of them feels like it's always changing. You know what I mean?
I think it's not going to get any better either. I think
it's always changing. But I would say, and I think you'll agree, it's really like I had photos with Brad just over a year ago, and he did my book cover. And that book cover is a really great example of a classic headshot where all the things that Brad talked about there is captured in that photo. Yeah. So if somebody says to me, smile for a photo, I'm not going to get that vibe come through because, again, my eyes are probably wide. I probably got a giant smile because I have big teeth and it's beautiful, right? It's full of joy, but it doesn't necessarily convey the parts of me that I want to convey, that I am, a capable expert ready to help you to solve your problem kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that the important thing to keep coming back to is that it's not that complicated. That system that I talk about is just really jawline, eyes, mouth, turning and tilting is how I position it. Jawline is about having a structured jawline and getting rid of any of our chins. The eyes, well, that's about looking confident, capable. The mouth is about having a little bit of warmth and approachability and getting away from that, I suppose, the idea that we have to look smiley and happy. I think, and I've been talking about this recently and thinking about this recently, often in a photograph of someone's face in particular, there's a battle going on between your eyes and your mouth, and who's going to win that battle. Now, in your particular circumstance, if you have a big smile on your face, the first thing that people are going to see are your teeth, and your big smile, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it depends where you're positioning that image and what you want to say with that image. Now, if you're at a wedding and you have a good time and you've had a couple of champagnes with your buddies, that's perfect. But if you're trying to say, hey, listen, I'm a kick-ass,
strategic bookkeeper,
then you kind of, is that the first impression you want to give is smiley and happy? I don't know. I just think you want to.
No, well, I think it's about
you've got to let your eyes win. Your eyes have to beat your mouth, if that kind of makes sense, because your eyes are going to give you your confidence and your capability. Your mouth gives you your warmth and approachability. So you still have an ability to adjust that mouth, that level of smile that I talk about, my level method system, and that level of squinch. It's not really a squint. It's more of a squinch. That ability to not look like a deer in the headlights, or a possum, whichever you prefer. So it's getting that balance right between your eyes and your mouth. And once you kind of nail that, then you realise that you get the head in the right position, you get your eyes right, your mouth right, you've got rid of all your double chins if you've got any, and all of a sudden you go, oh, actually, this is kind of a bit easy. It's like, well, it's not complicated. It's not doing stuff that's kind of weird. It's just finding that best position. But I think it's a time thing and it's a confidence thing and it's the ability. And I give people, 90 minutes to come in and we just shoot loads and loads of photos and we have a chat. Generally, we're chatting away and say you're relaxed often and I shoot tethered, which means I'm shooting into a big computer. It's like a 30-inch screen. So you're seeing the images as I'm shooting them. So you're observing your progress as that works and you start to go, oh, okay. And I can always show you the first one you took and then the last one you took and you go, oh, wow, that's kind of amazing. Yeah. But again, it's just taking the time and having an understanding of what the hell's going on here to be able to step people through that process.
Yeah, and I know you say it's not that complex. Now, James Wedmore said this, and I use it all the time now. So he might say about something, it's easy, right? And some of the stuff I've got, right? Some things are easy, not easy. So it's simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. And so your methodology is simple, but I've never met anyone else who can do it. So everyone understands how I work. When I go and see Brad, look, he is such an expert in what he does, and we can be very much inside our square and used to seeing ourselves look a certain way. So I do my shoots with Brad, and the photos come up, and he will always say, "What do you think?" And I kind of go, but I just tend to want to defer to him to choose because it's like being able to ask
That's
your
called the lazy
ideal
method system. Oh, you
But
pick
I
them.
do
You pick them.
think
No, I'm
I
sorry.
know I'm always like, what do you think, Brad? What do you think? And just trying to be really subtle about it in a hope that I don't have to choose, because sometimes we're just inside our square. Does that make sense? And a photo that I might not like might be a really great one to convey who I am when I have my business hat on, because we wear different hats, right? When I'm wearing my salsa dancing Jeannie hat, my photos are going to look very different to what they do when I come into work and I put my big boss kick-ass coach Jeannie hat on, so yeah.
And listen, I understand all that. One of the conversations I have with everybody that comes in here is making sure that they understand the purpose. Why are you being photographed? And, for most people, I'll be honest, they don't think that deeply. They just go, I need a shot for LinkedIn. Oh, okay. What do you do? Oh, I'm an accountant. Okay. What are you trying to say to your potential clients? Oh, well, my potential clients are looking at me because I've got a niche, and it's this niche, and, these are my clients, they're construction people, or, whatever they might be. Okay, so what do you think they want to see when they're looking for a new accountant? Oh, I don't know. I guess they want to see somebody that is happy. Really? Do you think so? It's kind of this process where you're kind of getting the information out of somebody, because, again, most people don't think about that deeply. They kind of come in and they go, I'll be lucky to get one good shot. I know that if I take 120 shots of somebody, that 85 of them are going to be really, really good. And those first, 15, 30, 40, whatever it might be, they're going to be at the beginning, and they're just going to get better and better and better and better and better. It's like anything. You try something new for the first time, you're always going to get better as you move along. So, yeah, so it's about getting your purpose right and having a bit of a think about who your market is, who's your client list. What do you want them? What do you think they want to see when they're looking at your headshot? And is that enough to get them to move to the next stage? Because, it's like a funnel. I know we talk about funnels and we go, oh, yeah, the sales funnel or whatever it is, but it is. It's like, well,
it's the customer journey. They're dropping into the customer journey.
Exactly.
And
so they're seeing your headshot, read my profile, send me a text, visit my website, call me, whatever your particular, call to action is. You want them to do it. So you've got to play around with maybe different looks, like, having a marketing understanding of where the headshot's going to go is really important as well, because the people that see your stuff on LinkedIn, for example, will be probably quite different to the people that see it on Facebook, and different again to the people that see it on Instagram, and different again to the people that see it on TikTok. Now, again, depending on how you market yourself and your business, you might have 5 different headshots with a slightly different background, clothing, expression on each of those 5 different headshots, because, well, we understand that the people that go to Instagram are not the same people that are going to see you on LinkedIn, and the different people again are going to see you on Facebook. So once you kind of get your head around that from a marketing perspective, and having a really good understanding of your purpose and who your market is, understanding the demographic of your market on each of those social mediums, will allow you to sort of go, well, okay, my Facebook followers are a little bit older, they're a little bit more mums and dads. Maybe I need to look a little bit happier. Okay, cool. Let's pick a shot that looks like that. LinkedIn, well, actually, that most of those dudes are business, corporate, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's get a little bit of a more serious kind of a look about you, so that those people look at you and get that vibe from you. And then Instagram, okay, might be a little bit more casual, a little bit younger at this stage, because all of those social media age up anyway. You might have a T-shirt, might be a little bit more so it just depends on your purpose and where the image is going to go primarily.
Yeah, and it probably gives everyone food for thought to think about those things, because that's what when we were chatting just then, I was thinking about my tribe in my transformation program. And probably the biggest surprise for me, because a lot of things I anticipated when I was asked recently, what surprised you about the results? And I could probably have a bit of a healthy ego. I'm like, you know what, after years and years of planning and dreaming and rolling this out, not much has surprised me, but they've been more ready for what I call the future and the current economic tech and consumer landscape than I thought. So many of them are rolling out more social media, podcasts, cool stuff that resonates with, younger people. And therefore they are getting into more of this lean into your newness, lean into your uniqueness. They might be, wearing bright colors or really having a brand that stands out. And then that's obviously leading to shots that are more, I don't know if you call them lifestyle, but the fun images that just lend themselves to the prize. Because for strategic bookkeepers, we sell basic bookkeeping. Ultimately, we want to sell strategic bookkeeping because that transforms a cost that's pretty useless and worthless into an investment that helps our clients to build their dream business in life. And our clients are generally families, and so young families. And so selling the lifestyle is a part of that. So you and I have done lifestyle shoots and I want to come into the studio and do some without a background. I've been looking at some of mine and going, you know what, we do use a lot with no background as well as some with background. So is that something how did you feel about our lifestyle shoot? Is that something you're looking forward to doing with my tribe?
I think it's a matter of understanding, again, having a deeper thought process about it. Now, I guess, without patting myself on the back, you'd already had my headshots done, I think, at one stage there. And then you said, hey, listen, I want you to do my lifestyle photos. But so having a really clear understanding of how you're going to market yourself and where the images are for and what you're trying to say and who your client is and et cetera, is really, really important from the get-go. And that's not something that I can work out. You know your own client. And I always say to people, hey, Jeannie, you know your client base better than I ever could. So having a clear understanding of, understanding the difference between a headshot, a personal branding image, and potentially a lifestyle photo. So, obviously a headshot is, from just above your boobs to the top of your head, basically. That's a headshot. If you move down any further, then you're really looking at a half body shot or a 3/4 length or whatever. So why you would do that, again, you've got to be a little bit strategic. I would say generally, I talk people out of doing half body shots and 3/4 length shots generally, because I believe unless you're a model, an actor, or potentially a fitness trainer, your body shape's really irrelevant to the job you do. And in this day and age, hey, listen, I'm sorry, but it makes it harder. It makes it harder for me and it makes it harder for the person that's sitting in front of me, because when I'm shooting your headshot, all I'm thinking about really is your expression and your shoulder turn. And there's only 3 things on your face that you can move that will change your expression anyway. So, we're really honing in on this stuff. Whereas if I'm shooting somebody half body, we've got to think about their shoulders, their arms, their boobs, their belly, all those types of things. So if someone's coming in for a headshot, I'll talk them out of going much further than their, the top of their chest.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So then we get to the point where we go, okay, lifestyle. Lifestyle is, and again, this is my understanding of how I categorize these things. Lifestyle is showing your potential clients what you do when you're not working. So that could be, I think you had little dogs. It might be walking the dogs along the beach. It might be going to the gym. For you, might be salsa.
Yeah.
And they would be strategically placed probably on an About Us page somewhere down the bottom. It's not, I don't think, and again, these are just my opinions. I don't think you should be leading with that stuff. Because
it depends what you're selling, I think. And for
bookkeepers, I guess it depends. And it comes back to, each individual's different. But that's how I see lifestyle, what you do when you're not working. Yeah, and that could, if you've got cars, you've got a big house, fabulous,
Which is a bit of a lifestyle, I would think, are, for example, in the strategic bookkeeper, I'm selling what I've achieved, right? And I've achieved income and lifestyle. I've achieved, and so I think sometimes we are selling the lifestyle. You know what I mean? My bookkeepers, I expect 100%. My bookkeepers to look up to me and to want to have the things I have. Some of the strategic bookkeepers that are really rising to the top of the tribe are getting to that position where their clients begin, and even in my bookkeeping practice, my clients began to, I guess, want to know more about the personal success I was enjoying as a result of my professional success. And I love looking at the landscape and how all these things change. And, we are more in each other's lives these days. So that's where I think there can be a little bit of room. But what I love is what you explained about, it's like I'm comfortable in front of a camera. I Latin dance. I do approximately 3 hours of activity every single day. So I'm very comfortable with all of that. Yeah. But bookkeepers on the whole are not. So it's amazing to hear that from you, because I think it would give them a lot of comfort, as well. Yeah. Like you said, people don't like to get in front of the camera.
I think that you can sometimes be, I'd hate to use the word, but bullied almost into believing that you need to show your lifestyle and show what you do and all that kind of stuff. And I just go, well, no, I think initially, if you're not comfortable in front of a camera, not comfortable doing all that stuff, then, okay, just have a headshot. Have strategically placed headshots that will be enough for your potential clients to go, oh, wow, okay, I like the way that person looks. Let's have a read of their profile. Let's click on the link or visit their website or whatever. So we've got the headshot and the lifestyle photo. The other one is personal branding, which can, again, present some challenges for a lot of people. It's to really show you working, I guess, show your product. So as a strategic bookkeeper, well, what do you show? So that's where you might show your workspace, your desk, photos of you sitting at your desk, all those types of things. So, but it's having a clear understanding of the different purposes of those particular shots, where you would use them and why you would use them, and that has become unclear, I think, recently. And go, I want to come in and get a personal branding shot. Well, that's a headshot. It's not personal branding. It's not a lifestyle shot. Lifestyle is this. Personal branding is this. Okay, headshot is this. So it's about having a clear understanding of what those strategic types of photographs are and their purpose.
I've learned so much here. And that really shows me that it's probably the exception, not the norm, for bookkeepers to want personal branding. And there will be exceptions, right? Like I'm thinking of one of our tribe members, Juliana, and she really stands out with the hot pink and she wears our merch. And it's a point of difference for her. Just like for me, I'm a bit like that, but it's the exception, not the norm, you know? And I agree. I can see what you mean by people being bullied into believing they need to do this when they don't need to do this unless they're ready and comfortable and it's part of their strategy. So that's been amazing. I'm glad we had that conversation. Awesome. I'll wrap up the podcast soon because I know that I've done a bit of a long one today, but I do love chatting to Brad, and I just feel like there's just so much value in what he has to bring us all. Because if you get a photo shoot done and you look at them and you think something doesn't seem right to me, then you'll begin to maybe understand why. And so Brad operates in the Gold Coast and Brisbane. Okay. Some of my bookkeepers do travel to see Brad and they love doing that. And they are 100% sure they're going to get the shot or the shots that they want. Because sometimes it's just the one amazing shot, right? But they're going to get the shots that they want. So you can travel to Brad, whether you are in America or whatever. You can have a nice tax deductible holiday to get your headshots done. So yeah, how can people find you and give you money?
Find me and give me money. I love people that track me down to give me money. So obviously my website is www.theheadshotguys.com.au. So that's probably the easiest way. Obviously, the website covers everything that I can think people might be wondering about in relation to the process. I try and make it really, really simple, which, again, hopefully most most people are getting that message. You've got to make it easy for people to book you. So you can either ring me. There's my phone number's on there. It's a mobile phone number, or right at the top there's a little contact form. So yeah, basically the process is you send me a form. We work out a day to come in. I'm Brisbane and Gold Coast. I've got a space in Brisbane that I can utilise as well. Obviously Gold Coast, where my space is here, you can see it behind my back. Listen, I travel. I'm a traveller, so I go to Melbourne. I go to Sydney quite often.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm not opposed to that method of if someone wants to fly me to Melbourne to shoot their headshots, and again, a person is probably not going to fly me to Melbourne to shoot their headshot. They might, which would be fabulous, but
bookkeepers can get together and book you. Yeah, together. I'll put that.
In Melbourne that say, hey, there's 5 of us. Come down. We're going to spend a day and shoot all our headshots, and that's it. And that can work out a little bit more worthwhile than just having one. And same with Sydney. Sydney's the same. Sydney's a little bit different because it's closer. It's only an hour, rather than Melbourne's a 2-hour journey, and getting down and back in the same day can often be a bit of a hassle. But if you've got some mates and you get together, come down, and I can come down and shoot.
Have some champagne. So that's awesome. And that's probably a wrap, Brad. So thank you so much for coming on the show. It was amazing. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got 2 options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.